Good morning. I'm back with Elisabeth.
Yeah!
And we thought we would have a chat today about life before Positano.
Yes, there was life before
There was
Positano.
life before Positano. Many people, especially the people here, have no idea what our lives were like before we came here. They don't know what we did. They don't know where we lived. They don't even know what countries we came from, a lot of them.
Many times it still happens.
Yeah.
So what the nice part when you move to a new place is that everything is new, language, everything. But the hardest part is to explain people that you are worth something.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
It's okay to say like this, no? That people think you always start on the lowest level.
Yes, there seems to be a belief that people who come here are poor, searching for jobs and desperate to find work and get paid, which is often not the case. But unfortunately, that's what most people presume when you arrive. So you're starting really at the very, very bottom of the scale and have to sort of prove yourself that you're not here to snatch up a rich man and and that way, yeah. So I thought let's start with, what was the first ever job that you had, like your first job as a teenager?
In an ice cream shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a gelateria. I was 16.
Okay.
And I used to work during summer in a place where we always go for holidays, and I still go there for holidays now. And the gelateria still exists of the hotel, and this was my first job.
Okay, I was younger than you. I was 14, and I got a weekend job at a local delicatessen, and I would they had the half-baked baguettes, so I'd put the half-baked baguettes in the oven and bake them and then put them out, and cut pieces of carrot cake and the ham on that awful machine. I sliced the top of my finger off on that machine. I'm sure nowadays 14-year-olds are not allowed to use that machine.
No,
it's
for
so
sure
dangerous. But yes, I worked in a delicatessen, and some of the other kids that worked there, I still know them to this day. A lot of people that I met through that job are still my friends.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
No, I don't have a lot of contact because this was in the place where I went only for summer.
Okay.
So the boy who did with me duty, I know that he moved away from Austria, but I don't know exactly. Yeah, I don't know a lot. So this was my first job, and then later I already tried to move in the direction.
Orzo per chi era?
Per Niki?
Grazie.
Prego.
Grazie.
No.
Perfetto.
Grazie.
Ditami.
So this was my first job, and then I tried already to move in the direction I liked, because I knew I wanted to do hospitality management, and I tried to find jobs there, like
Okay.
hotel, restaurants, things like this.
That makes
Yeah.
sense, yeah. I suppose I had a couple of years of working. I did the delicatessen, and then there was a couple of summers I worked in at Hampton Court Palace, which many tourists go to. It's the home of King Henry VIII. So I worked in the restaurant there. There's a restaurant called the Tilt Yard, and I would prepare traditional English afternoon teas with the scones and clotted cream.
Beautiful.
And the little sandwiches and all the little cakes and things. And I'd also work, alternating with that, I'd work in the ice cream parlour at the entrance of the maze at Hampton Court Palace. So I did that for a couple of summers. But after that, like you, I moved into television production where my parents worked, and started working as a cable basher, a camera assistant. So, and that was brilliant. That was, for me, out of all the jobs I've done in my whole life, I think being a cable basher was the best, because you got to be on stage, like on the front of the stage,
Yeah, but that's not
at a
possible.
concert of probably one of your favourite bands, and you were on the stage moving back and forth. All I had to do was hold the cable for the cameraman, pull it backwards and forwards so that he didn't trip over it. That was my job. But I was on the front of the stage, so I had my backstage pass, and I'd be singing along with the group or whatever, and I got to work. I think one of the first jobs I ever did was, I think it was like the Brits Awards or the International Rock Awards, and there was The Cure, Jesus Jones, there was Ozzy Osbourne, there was so many of my favourite bands there, and I was quite overwhelmed by it. But it was just, I've got photos as well. I took my camera and I took photos. So
that's top for the age you were.
Yeah, and then when I was 18, I worked at Glastonbury for 2 summers. I was at Glastonbury on the stage, so I got to be on stage with Jamiroquai and I can't even think. There's so many bands and stuff that you don't even remember. You'd come home at the end of the day and think, who did I just meet? Because MTV Music Awards, and there'd be just so many people coming through.
Oh, wow.
And another big one I did was Pavarotti
in
Hyde Park. He did a big free concert in Hyde Park, and it poured and poured with rain. And we had the royal family sitting in the very front row. And because it was raining, when we had to wear black on stage, I didn't have a black coat, so they gave me a black bin bag. So I was like 2 meters from Princess Diana, Prince Charles, I don't know whether the Queen was there, but like the royal family, wearing a black bin bag with soaking wet hair. And you can actually see me just about, if you know where to look, on the videos, because it's on YouTube, you can see this little red, because like my hair was redder at the time, this little red dot on the corner of the stage. But yeah, that was my favourite job ever.
And how did you change to makeup?
So I didn't go straight to makeup. I did something in between. So I think my mum at some point when I was about 21, 22, she said, you can't do this forever. It's not a proper job. You need to start a career. So I ended up getting a job for a Arab TV company based in Rome. So I moved to Rome and I was living they put everybody up in a hotel. I lived in a hotel in Rome for 4 months.
Oh, wow.
Very, very bizarre. And I was a transmission assistant. So basically the transmission controller is the person who puts the TV channel on air and keeps it on air. Nowadays, it's probably all automated and I don't even know if that's a job anymore. It might not exist anymore. But back then, I would have to get every TV program and every advert is on a video cassette. And there'd be like a big jukebox and you'd have to manually put them all in and then scan all the barcodes, feed it into the computer, and make sure it went on air at the right time. So it was a really intensive job because you had the responsibility of keeping the channel on air. And if you accidentally started watching the program and suddenly it goes to an advert break and you forget that you're in control, it would go black. So it was quite a tough job, but I did that for about 2 years and decided I didn't want to do it anymore because you were closed in a dark room for 12 hours, no windows. You did night shifts from 9 to 9, and you'd finish at 9 in the morning. You'd get home, you didn't know whether to eat breakfast or dinner. You'd sleep till 4 and you'd wake up disorientated. And I wasn't enjoying it. So then I sat down and had a big think, and Mum said to me, why don't you train to be a makeup artist? You're always hanging around the makeup room. Every time we were on a studio or doing a show, I would always sneak into the makeup room and touch everything and sniff the perfume of the makeup. And I ended up training for a year and then started working.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So I've taught for ages. What about you?
So after my ice cream shop, during my studies at university, I did the classical, I would say, thing you do in Austria. I did ski instructor in winter.
Okay.
And in summer, I was working at a water ski school.
Oh, wow.
So this was what I did in summer and in winter. And then when I was already older, I had to search jobs regarding my university. And I started working in hotels. And then when I finished business administration, I was very lucky because I entered in an Austrian hotel chain in the controlling. So I started from the other side. I started from the head office. But during the head office, I understood I wanted to be an operative. So I wanted to go to the hotel. So I started from this side, and then after some years, I moved to the hotel, and then step by step, I became general manager.
Wow.
And then...
How old were you?
When the first time I was general manager, I was 25.
Wow.
Yeah, I was one of the youngest in Austria. And then I was lucky. I entered to Resida, which is the mother company from Redison. And that was really nice because then my career started. Because when you want to make a career in hospitality management, the most important thing is you need to move. You can't wait that the job you want next on the career, the guy will vanish. It's impossible. So you have to, or die. It's not possible. So I had to move. I moved. I went to Budapest. I went to Prague. I went to many places. I went to London. And so I made career inside of the hotel chain, which was beautiful. And when I met Pepe, I was general manager of a hotel with 148 rooms.
Wow.
So
where?
In Austria. When I came here, I remember the first thing is I took like 6 months off.
Okay.
Because when you're general manager, it seems a really great job because they give you the hotel apartment, they give you the car, they give you the laptop, they give you the telephone. But this means you're 24 hours, 7 days a slave, honestly.
Right.
So living in the hotel can be also quite stressful because you're every minute available.
Yeah.
And this I did for many years, and then I said, no, I want to cut. I took 6 months off, and then I started to think, I want to work again. You know, when you start, I explored all the sentieri, I was walking all the beautiful possibilities here in Positano. And then I wanted to start in a hotel, and it was really difficult. You will think, with my CV, you can easily find a job. I didn't even pretend to be general manager. I wanted in, like reservation or departments. But it was impossible because whenever I had a chat, there are still a lot of family businesses here. So they are inside and they don't want to give you the responsibility.
Yeah.
And then many times I had a chat and the guy told me, you are more qualified than I am. Honestly, you would need my chair. And logically, I don't.
Yeah.
So I had really difficulty to find something, and I was really sad because it's like you try, like you come here, you want to show, but nobody wants to give you the possibility. So they offered me to start at the reception, like a front desk clerk. And this was like, I was thinking, and then I had a chat with Pepe, and I said, Pepe, honestly, if I have to start again down from there, I prefer to think really well what I want to do in life. Maybe I do something different.
Yeah, because I don't think people move up here either. You get a job and you pretty much stick with it.
Yes. And then we were lucky because Pepe already had Blue Star in another situation. And I was able to enter, and the other two partners went out. So I took the part, and then it was only me and Pepe. So I used the money from my dad, who left me, I used for this, and then we started Blue Star. And I was really lucky. I can tell you honestly, many other friends I have, or people you also know, who left already again Positano because they were not able to find something in their range. So I was really lucky, and I'm every day thankful that we were able to build something together.
Yeah. I think in Positano, it's very difficult to come in to this area as a fully qualified anything, and expect to get a job in that, because that's not what they need. It's the families that own the businesses run it, and they're the management, and they just want workers. So you can easily get a job as a shop assistant or a
lavapiatti.
A dishwasher or a waiter, not even a waitress. I mean, they don't like having females as waitresses here. They say that I actually had an argument with one of Carlo's brothers about this recently, because I was saying I don't understand why there aren't female waitresses. Oh, they can't handle it. It's long days and heavy plates. I'm like, have you ever been to a pub in England with a Sunday pub lunch and carried it 100 metres down the pub garden to the tables down by the river? It's just a different way of thinking. And a lot of the menial jobs are available, but nothing higher up. And even with me, with the makeup, I came here knowing that if I was going to stay here, I was going to lose my career as a makeup artist, because there's no TV stations around here that I could work from. There's no production companies or anything. And over the years, I slowly, as in Positano, changed and slowly became a wedding destination, that's when I slowly realized that I could redo my career as a wedding makeup artist.
And they maybe like you because you were speaking English like mother tongue.
Yeah, yeah. And also because the style of makeup that you're taught is quite different. I think the Italian makeup artists can be quite heavy-handed. Not always. Nowadays they're getting better. But back then, let's say 15, 20 years ago, they were very heavy-handed. And a wedding makeup here was more like a mask. It was like a thick application of makeup. And it didn't often suit the person. It didn't suit the bride because, let's say, the bride, somebody like you who never made. Yeah, but it's slowly I built up my career again, and I still over the years did some TV work because obviously companies would come to film in Italy, and I would work on productions, TV shows based in Italy with maybe an English crew. Sometimes I did some Italian stuff here, so I kept my foot in. I did some music videos here as well and stuff. So I managed to do it, and then by the time I was 50 last year, I decided to retire from makeup. I wasn't enjoying myself so much anymore, and decided I think I'd done 27 years of makeup.
It's also, I remember that every year you had to buy all the things new. It's also quite expensive.
Very expensive. With the tax regime that I'm on, I wasn't allowed to claim back any of the VAT for anything I bought. So I was just about breaking even some years. I was really, and it got harder and harder because a lot of people get married in Amalfi and Ravello. Ravello now, with the traffic, it's about an hour and a half, 2 hours to get there. And then I'd have this long walk through town with all of my equipment, like to get to the village Cimbrone. It's at least a 20-minute walk from where I could park, and I'd have a big box of makeup and another bag and a chair because I have like a high stool, and it was hard work. And then with all the traffic, so yeah, I think I was done with that and decided to just carry on with YouTube, which just sort of happened. Well, we all know that.
I just want to remind you, Joaquin, our mechanic.
Yes.
He was always mechanic. But when he came here, because he's from Venezuela, with the Spanish passport, he started like dishwasher. Right. Because nobody gave him or thought that he really is capable to do this.
Yeah.
He was mechanic for cars. He could easily have started in an officina here, but nobody wanted to give him a job. Also because he had to learn Italian.
Yeah.
And then we met him, Pepe, and they became friends also. And then Pepe, when he found out that he was mechanic, was super happy. He started to work for us. Mm-hmm. And step by step, mechanic car, mechanic boat, he knew exactly what to study. He was great. He went like one winter with our mechanic, who we had to pay extra, and learned. And now we have our own mechanic, which is so important.
It's brilliant. Yeah, and I don't think people in town realise how fortunate you are and what an amazing person you had. 2 years ago, when our swimming pool sprung a leak and Sky was in a total panic, we ended up sending him because none of the plumbers would go because it was the middle of summer and they were all busy, and we ended up calling you, and you sent Joaquim up and he fixed the pool, which was literally losing all of its water, and he was brilliant.
And he's a lovely person.
He's a gem,
He's really...
Yeah.
So...
And it is a shame here that people don't... Well, one, there's a lot of rules and regulations. For example, we had an Australian friend who was a lawyer who here had to do walking tours because she wasn't allowed to practice law. And I had another friend who was a midwife who wasn't allowed to be a midwife. She was just a housewife here. And I think that's happened a lot over the years. People have come in and then realised that they can't do their job. They're not allowed.
In this, I was lucky.
I know that legally I was not supposed to be a makeup artist here because I didn't study in Italy, even though I went to an Italian makeup school in London, the Glauca Rossi School of Makeup. She's an Italian makeup artist and one of the best schools in London. And I studied there. My qualifications don't mean anything in Italy. So legally, I was not allowed to call myself a makeup artist. And on my tax documents, I was down as I was an image consultant.
Oh, mama.
That's what I was legally, yes.
No, I remember also for me when I had to translate all the certification of my university of the degrees. That was hard work. I did it in Salerno. That was really
And why did
hard
you
work.
have to translate that?
Because I wanted to have the same status here, like university,
okay.
because I didn't know what I'm going to do. And it was expensive because I had to translate everything. And then they ask you from elementary school the certification. I had to translate, like the elementary, the certificate.
I don't think I
did.
even have certificates from elementary school.
My mom had everything. And then when I finished school, the final exam, and then the final degree for university. Yeah, so that was quite busy.
Wow.
Yeah, and I remember, because you pay by word, you remember, that's quite expensive. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so let's round off this conversation with, can you think of a specific day's work out of any job that you've ever done, which is your favorite day at work ever?
In general, of my whole life? My favorite day. I really enjoyed when I was general manager in a hotel with spa. This was really nice because people were happy, they were on holidays, and the atmosphere was great in general. There is not a real favorite day. If I have to think now, my favorite day here, since I'm here, was the first family day we did.
Okay.
When we took off and we did, like, with our families, the tour we do every day with our clients. That's maybe my favorite day.
Yeah, so basically what she does every year is it's the 8th of August,
Yes.
isn't it? They take a day off and they don't take any bookings, and they get all of the crew and all of the crew's families and invite them all onto the boats and just go off and have fun for the day. And it's a really good day.
Nice.
Yeah, we've done it a few times.
Yeah.
Lovely. So I think my favorite day was, without a doubt, I was lucky enough to be a cable basher on the Freddie Mercury tribute concert at Wembley Stadium.
Oh, wow. How many people?
60,000, I think. And I've actually got a photo of me when I actually walked onto the stage at the beginning of the concert. I walked diagonally across the stage to get to my place. And somebody took a photo of me. It was just such a magical concert. It was such a beautiful hot summer's day for England. There was the most amazing sunset. I can remember More Than Words, you know, that song More Than Words. They were singing that, and also Metallica with Nothing Else Matters. Wow. And the sun was setting and the sky was pink. And then we had Annie Lennox and David Bowie and George Michael, and they were all like a meter in front of me. And it was just the most magical experience. I think I got deafened that night because the fireworks went off right next to me and I wasn't prepared. And the cameraman had turned around and given me a pair of earplugs at one point, and I didn't understand what they were for. And I was like, no, I want to hear the music. I want to live the music. So I didn't put them in. And suddenly all these fireworks exploded and I think I fell over. I was with the shock. It was very scary, but it was the most incredible experience to be at that concert, but to be on the stage and be so close to all the singers and everything.
It
was
amazing.
Wonderful. Yeah.
That
was definitely my favorite day of all the jobs I've ever done. And now we're here.
And if now we do the future, what would be your favorite day? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? Or not in 10 years, if you could imagine the perfect day?
Okay, the perfect day would be me in my big property in Tuscany, which is a guest house, which has 3 or 4 apartments and rooms to rent. And it's a beautiful early summer day and you guys are visiting. So you've got one of the apartments and the kids are not kids anymore, I suppose. They're sulky teenagers. But it's that the house is full of people and we've got guests staying and everybody's really friendly, and we drag the tables outside into the olive groves and have a big meal, and I cook for everybody and there's people helping me and music, and we've created our own little bubble that we live in and people come to us, and that is my dream. That is what I want.
In this we are very similar, I think, because my favorite dream is to be with my goats, just to be in Braiano, having the 3 apartments, to show people, to go in sustainability, to show the things here. I want to really learn well how to use the milk of the goats, what I can do, what is possible, because I started doing now the milk and the yogurt. But yeah, and then just enjoy my animals.
Yeah.
If I could choose, I would just stay half of my day only with them. And then, yeah, just having a walk.
Yeah.
And then I would love to put up all the herbs and everything, which nearly gets lost now. What you could use, like in the not medical, in the garden.
Yeah.
And that's lovely.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll check back in 10 years and let you know whether it's come true or not.
Yeah.
Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this chat, and we will be no doubt doing another one very soon as we think of a topic. If you've got any ideas for topics, always let us know, leave us a comment.
Send a lot of topics, because the more topics, the more chats we have to do, and the longer Nikki stays with me.
Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Ciao. Bello, no?
Sì. Immagina che non ho promoto record. Sì. Wow,